Alright, hey, this is Daniel Chu, aka Chewbacca, and I am back for day 16 out of 30 of November Rejection Challenges. Today I'm back out at the start of La Jolla Boulevard in beautiful Bird Rock in San Diego. And the challenge that I'm going to do today is to ask a bunch of strangers. I'm going to aim for like somewhere between 3 and 5. Let's say 5. I've committed to that on video. 5 strangers if I can autograph their hand with my handy dandy sharpie, which I brought with me today. This is a 6 out of 10. Actually, I think I listed it as a 5 out of 10 originally, but I was reviewing the list and I realized like this feels a little more uncomfortable than the things I listed as a 5. So 5s were things like challenging a stranger to an impromptu chess match. That was a 5. This is worse. This is definitely worse. This is weirder. It's like less plausible. Like there's really no good reason why I would need to autograph someone's hand with a Sharpie. So this is strange. There's actually a little bit of a story to why I chose this challenge today, ultimately. I was actually going to do something different today. I was going to go and I think the challenge was listed as a 3, and it's to go and ask a homeless person to have dinner with me and kind of like learn about them in the process. And there are a couple reasons why I decided not to do that one today. One is that like I realized that the reason why I wanted to do it is because it's easy, and that I was resisting doing the harder, weirder stranger challenges that lead to more of a sense of like embarrassment or just like, holy shit, I did something strange. And I realized that like over the last 5 days I've been doing a lot of easier challenges, and as a result I'm actually feeling a lot more resistance about the harder challenges than I was before, which means as kind of expected, sort of this like rejection proof like muscle, it is a muscle, and as I like stop using pieces of it, it like atrophies a little bit, and that it's surprising how fast that has happened. The hope is that, rather than succumb to all the excuses that I told myself, one of which is like, my sister is actually coming home on Saturday for Thanksgiving break. And so she's going to want to eat like dinners and like hang out. And so like, there aren't going to be a whole lot of dinners for me to do like dinner with like someone homeless. So I figured like, okay, there are some good reasons why I would do that challenge today as opposed to a harder challenge. But I think that like ultimately, there's a lot of like bullshit going through my head, right? Like there's just like a lot of reasons why I kind of didn't want to come out here today and do this particular challenge. The more like resistance I was feeling for it, the more I realized that like shit, like I have to do this one. There's like some other reasons why I was like resisting, I think, are like, one is that like, like I actually ordered a like Amazon, from Amazon I ordered this like iPhone holder that like can like, it's like a necklace almost, it like sits around my neck. It's like the least sexy thing ever, but the hope, the idea is that it will actually make it easier for me to record these videos from like kind of a first person point of view perspective, because I noticed in a lot of my videos so far that like you can't actually see who I'm talking to, and that's kind of annoying and unfortunate. So I was telling myself that I'd like wait for that to show up. It's supposed to show up by 8 p.m. It hasn't shown up yet, and I realized that I was kind of like using that as an excuse to like not get out there, to sort of wait and like be like, oh, if it gets too late, then I'll just do a different challenge. It's not a big deal, right? Or like, like I'm off the hook until it shows up. So I had to like really take a long look at myself and just say like, cut the bullshit. And today we're out here trying to cut the bullshit. And despite all the like internal excuses and fears, I'm here. I'm gonna do it. I think that like actually the more resistance there is, the better this is for me. So as much as I really don't want to do this, here we go. So I'm gonna shut up and wish me luck. Okay, so a couple things I forgot to mention before, but A couple things I'm gonna try today to focus on. One is that like I'm just gonna take whoever comes, so I'm not gonna choose my targets like last time I was here at La Jolla Boulevard. Two is that I'm gonna try like asking a different way for each target if I can. Just try a couple different approaches. And then three, I think there was a third one, I can't remember what it was now. What was the third one? All right, well, maybe it'll come to me. Okay, cool. It's like pretty empty right now, which is good for me. I feel like the only kinds of people who do this kind of thing have to be like severe narcissists. All right, we got one. It's looking a bit weird. Excuse me, ma'am. Would you like an autograph?
No, thank you.
No? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
you.
Okay, that was interesting and weird. Okay, I think that like she just seemed to keep walking, so I didn't ask why not. I kind of want to ask why not next time. Arg. Okay, so I looked at my phone and I realized that after the first iteration of this, I adjusted the phone a little bit and it turned off the recording, which is like really frustrating, really frustrating. I actually ended up talking to 5 people. I'm gonna do a few more since I have to walk back towards my house anyway, and I'll try to get those on camera, but this was tough. This was like pretty strange. First couple, I straight up just asked, tried to be as confident as I could and like smile, and I just asked like, would you like an autograph? And like, obviously that didn't fly with a lot of people. It was just like weird. They're like, holy crap. So there was a lot of judgment. They just like, you know, kept moving. And I let them go. I didn't really like ask too many questions. It was like kind of hard to ask questions in that case because it's just like, it's weird. Like I think I did ask one lady. She was like, I have to go to work, and she just like looked real creeped out. Like she just wanted to get out real fast. And then I kept going. I switched to asking if I could ask for you know a strange favor, or if I could make a strange request. And I think that opened it up a little bit more because like, as I expect, I think that it like acknowledges the weirdness of what I'm doing. So like people are less like just tense about the whole interaction. But I still got a lot of notes. I think that like, because I was able to like, I think if I like ask if I can do something strange and then I smile, I think that like people probably kind of catch on that like there's something funny about this, and they don't take it as seriously, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. But there was this guy and a woman who were walking down, and I stopped them, which is, it's tough for me because you know I don't like stopping groups of people. And you know they ultimately said no, but it didn't feel that bad. I kept going. I actually got to a point where went further than where I stopped last time. You know, I got to kind of a crowded area actually, and I asked one more lady, and she just like stopped. The first thing she asked me was like, "Is this for like Rush?" Which, you know, I really got to stop wearing this jacket. Like that just makes things tough. And I told her it wasn't. I told her why I was doing this. And after I told her all that, she said like she would have said yes, except that like she's doing something with like, she had some sort of like medical thing happening with her hands, and so couldn't. But it seems funny to me, and I think in both cases where I've seen people say yes to really strange requests so far, actually, it's been retrospectively, after I told them why I was doing this, they're like, oh yeah, I totally would have done it. I'm really not sure they would have if they hadn't heard the explanation first, though. The explanation does remove a lot of like the judgment and weirdness. But that lady specifically had mentioned that like she would have said yes because like she kind of understands. She feels like she had to do things like this for like Rush and being hazed by like sororities. So strangely, there is like empathy. I didn't expect empathy from strangers on this, but strangely, like occasionally there's empathy. But anyway, I'm gonna keep trying, do a few more, so I have it on camera. Excuse me, sir. Can I make kind of a strange request? I'm wondering if you would let me autograph your hand with a Sharpie.
Sure, why?
No reason? You said yes, though? Okay. Interesting. Why did you say yes?
It's because you look like a nice guy.
I look like... Really? That's it?
That's it. Are you famous? Should I not wash my hands?
I wish I could tell you that I was.
Oh, are you,
I'm not rushing. That's... Yeah, people ask me that a lot.
But did you go to Stanford?
I did go to Stanford,
Well,
yes.
then good for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's another reason I probably let you do it.
Wait, really?
Psychology test or something? Or survey that you
well,
do?
since we already went through it, I'll tell you what's going on. For the month of November, I'm experimenting with. I'm like terrified of rejection. So every day in November so far, I've done what I call a rejection challenge. So I like. Yeah, I go ask strangers really random things. Most of the time they say no, which is good, and then like judge me. It's really weird. You're actually not the first person I've asked today. You're like number 6. Everyone else has judged me really hard. So I'm really surprised you said yes.
Are you building confidence or what?
I am definitely
What are
building
you
confidence.
finding? What's your research?
Yeah, well, it's not really research. It's just personal growth. So yeah, I wish I could say like have some fancy paper I'm right now. I'm not. It's just personal growth. But
Eventually you'll become a very good reader of people.
yeah,
You
you
read
know.
their auras and their biorhythms. It's like I'm just in that way. I'm a musician, but I'm also
Okay.
in the States, so I hold accounts every Sunday.
Okay, yeah.
Reader of people.
I mean, yeah,
So, you know,
real estate, you're basically selling things, right? So it's like you gotta get used
meeting
to.
people and making friends, and then
Right.
if they like me, it turns into something.
Well, that's fair.
So is that David or Daniel?
That's Daniel.
Daniel.
Yes.
Well, good. I'll just say to people, I got a famous autograph. Who is it? It's Daniel. I don't know what it is, but I got a famous
Oh,
autograph.
that's amazing. Thank you. What was your name,
I'm
sir?
Bob.
Bob. Thank you, Bob. You actually made my day. I did not expect anyone to say yes
Do
to
you live
this.
here in Birdrose?
I do, which makes this a little more awkward for me because I feel like there's a higher chance that I'll actually see people again.
No, then you should come down. I'm the music director down there at the Methodist Church.
Oh, really?
Right down there, just past all the roundabouts.
Oh, cool. Okay, I'll drop by
Lots of
sometime.
Good music going on. We
Yeah.
got a big Christmas concert coming up. Just watch
Oh.
the banner and
Very cool.
just come wandering on in anytime.
Yeah.
You want to. There's friendly people. And
That sounds good.
we just kind of hang out.
I feel like I kind of owe you one, so yeah. You know,
Well, that would be good. That would be good.
I'll look out for that. Thank you.
I hope a lot of other people just say, sure, why not?
So far, in my experience, people aren't, but we'll see. You know, you seem to be the most open-minded and friendly.
Like why and what?
There have been some really weird judgmental looks. I've asked in 2 different ways. I've asked first way, I didn't try to preface it at all. I just said like, "Hi, would you like an autograph?" And people were just like, "No." And then I started acknowledging the strangeness of the request, which is what I did with you. And people actually stopped giving me the time of day. And I think depending on how I look on my face, people respond differently. No one said yes. But if I'm like smiling when I say like, "Can I make a strange request?" people are more likely to take it kind of lightheartedly, and otherwise they're just gonna judge the crap out of me.
I wasn't threatened at all. Someone was smiling, walking my way, says, "Hey." I go, "What's up?"
Well, I wish there were more kind, open-minded people in this
Well,
world. So
thank
thank you, Bob.
And if we see you again, if not, have a wonderful life.
All right, thank you. Likewise, happy holidays. Yeah, as well. So take care.
All right, dude. And would you do me a favor? Would you beat the pants off of? Would you take the Northern Division of the Pac-12?
You know.
People from Washington, that's like, just in my face.
Yeah.
And I've got my oldest son went to UCLA and my younger son went to Arizona State.
Uh-huh.
They both kind of, but I absolutely cannot stand USC. And we have this.
Oh yeah. Okay.
This in our church because we've got attorneys and doctors. This USC Stanford thing going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Inside the church is very cute.
Okay. Okay. I'm crossing my fingers that we'll see what happens. You know, it's been an interesting season so far. All right. Take care. Thanks, Bob. That was unexpected. Excuse me, sir. Could I ask you for kind of a strange favor?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you'd be willing to let me autograph your hand with a Sharpie.
Interesting. Why?
I can't answer that.
What you? I was at Stanford. That's crazy.
I'm not being hazed, if that's what you're wondering.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're playing a game. Or you're doing something with a group of people.
All right, I'll tell you
me.
since
You're gonna give me the one.
All right. Well, it's gonna change whether or not you say yes or no.
Okay,
so
yeah,
this point, it's not a valid data point.
Go ahead.
But I'm terrified of rejection.
Okay.
So in the month of November, it's
That's crazy.
November 16th. Every day in November so far,
Right.
I've been doing what I call a rejection challenge.
Yeah.
And some of them are really easy. Some of them are really. This is really strange,
Absolutely.
right?
This is crazy.
So just asking
love
strangers
it.
for random things,
I love it.
hoping, kind of expecting that they'll say no,
No.
and judge the crap out of me,
Yes.
and just kind of get over it and
And get
realize
over
like
it.
life is bigger than that. It
And get
doesn't
over
matter.
it.
It's
If
not
I
such a
let
big
you
deal.
do it, will you let me ask you some questions
Okay,
about your life?
sure. That sounds
Yeah?
like a reasonable deal. All right.
Do it.
All right. Fire away.
First question.
Yeah.
First question.
Yeah.
Do you have any religious backgrounds?
Loosely raised Christian, but agnostic right now.
Why loosely? What does that mean? Was your mom or one of them a Christian?
We celebrate Christmas, and we
Gotcha.
celebrate Christian holidays, but we're not like super religious.
Gotcha.
I think my parents. Are you familiar with Unitarian Universalism?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
At some point, my parents were going to a Unitarian church, and
Right.
I went along when I was a kid. So I think my
Gotcha.
parents have always been kind of religiously confused.
Interesting.
And,
yeah. So
yeah.
they none of them applied any pressure on you to.
Not really, no.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What do you think about Jesus?
I don't know what I think about Jesus. I think
What do you know about Jesus?
only bits and pieces of what I know from
Yeah.
being a kid and
Gotcha.
being
What
exposed
do
to
you
things.
remember?
But savior of mankind, died for all of our sins.
Right.
Things like that. Like
Gotcha.
supposed to be a shining example of what humanity
Exactly.
can be.
Yeah. So you're an agnostic.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
not an atheist.
Right.
And so that means you're a little open to religion.
It means that I think that they're if I were given, like I think that the issue that I have is
Yeah.
the faith part, which is
Right.
probably half the point of
Yes,
religion, which is
yes.
unfortunate.
Absolutely.
But-
yeah, that's my family, by the way. That's my wife. So he's doing this thing where he's scared of rejection. And the month of November, he's doing like crazy stuff. So he walks up to me and goes, "Oh, can I autograph your hand?" And I'm like, "Who is this guy?" And then I said, "If he can do it, can I ask him some questions about Jesus?" And so we're talking now. I love it. And so yeah, so go ahead. You were explaining agnostic and.
I guess it's just agnostic versus atheist for me. It's the difference of like if I were shown, I guess like
Right.
proof that God exists,
Yes.
then I'm open to the idea that it's possible, but like I'm not gonna
Absolutely.
worship without
Absolutely.
like I'm not willing to make the leap of faith.
Absolutely.
I guess. Right.
You
Which-
want to
yeah.
see it in action.
Yeah.
So for example, today, if you had this incredible vision that was so real, you would probably, and Jesus came in a vision and said, "Hey, what's your name, by the way?" Sorry.
I'm Daniel.
Daniel.
What was your name?
Obed.
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 Nice to
and
meet you,
just
Obed.
said, "Hey, Daniel, I am real. Believe in me." Would that be enough evidence?
I don't know, right? Like it's hard. It's really hard to say, right? Because it's
Absolutely.
there's a lot of things I feel like I don't understand about how the human mind works,
Right,
right? And dreams are something that I feel like as a species we just do not understand, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
how can I know that this dream is like proof of
Right,
something that exists?
right.
Because I have dreams about things all the time that I wish were real. They're definitely not real, right? Like,
Yeah. Right.
yeah, I mean, because I've talked to people who are like,
Absolutely.
incredibly smart individuals,
Yeah.
who, like some of my peers at school, for example, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Who are religious, and they've described to me like, oh yeah, I had this experience where like,
Yeah.
I think someone told me like, oh yeah, I was at, I went to mass, and we were about to do the Eucharist, and I just had I wasn't really religious. My parents were like telling me to go, and
Yeah.
I just had this like outpouring of emotion. I just
Crazy.
literally started crying, and that was her moment.
Right.
And I was, I'm sitting there going like, okay. I mean, I don't know. Like, if I experienced the same thing, would I feel the same way? I don't know. Maybe I would.
Yeah.
I've never have, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But then it's also, from my perspective, not having experienced it, it's like,
Right.
well, are there other reasons why that could have happened,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's hard
Yeah.
to. It's really hard to say,
Good
right?
Thoughts,
Yeah.
Very good reflective thoughts. I mean, in Scripture, I think one of the passages in the Bible, it's a book called Romans, and it was written by the Apostle Paul, and in it he begins to talk about how creation is evidence of God's existence. Basically, he's like, look around you,
Right.
look in the mirror,
Yeah.
look at the ocean.
Yeah.
Like, how did this come about?
Right.
Like some people would say, it came about through evolution and a
Right.
big bang, but Scripture and I believe in the Bible says God created this.
Right.
And his creation points not only to his magnificence and how immense he is, because it's crazy, creation is crazy,
Yeah.
but it also points to how gracious he is, because Jesus comes on the scene
Right.
and says, hey, basically I am God and I'm the only way to God, my Father, and God is my Father and I'm his son. That makes him equal to me. I and the Father are one. And he also makes a lot of audacious claims back then that they killed him for. And when he died, he rose again, and that was Jesus. His person was that he was God, and he died on the cross,
Right.
and he rose again on the third day.
Right.
And then Jesus not only did this, but he also calls everyone and all people to believe in him for salvation, for eternal life.
Okay. Okay.
And that is the message of the gospel. And
that's
he
interesting.
calls people to not just hear it, but respond to it. But at the end of the day, it's never forced on anyone. And I think that is the beauty about Christianity. It's a decision people make at a point in their life. And I would highly encourage you. I wasn't a Christian growing up, and I managed to find my Gideon's Bible. It was a small Gideon's Bible in my room, and I started reading about Jesus and discovering who he was, and he just intrigued me. What he did, some of his claims were incredible to me, and as I read and I got to a point where I was like, I think he's true. I think I believe what he says, and I think I believe who he says, and I took the step of faith,
Right.
which you struggle with, by believing in Jesus and trusting him as not only my savior but my master. And so I live for him, and I try to imitate his life. So that is the gospel.
Okay.
I present that to you so that you may think deeply about it, because you're a deep thinker.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I may not ultimately come to the same conclusions as you,
Yes,
but
exactly.
I think, I mean, I think there is a lot of value in those writings, regardless of whether or not it ultimately means I come to faith or not. So I will have to check that out.
Thank you
I think
for
that's
listening to me.
a fair trade. Oh, I mean, it's more than a fair trade, I feel like, you know? You're gonna have that mark on you for the next couple days. I just had to endure maybe like a 10-minute conversation about interesting philosophical views. So I don't know.
Read the Bible or something.
Pardon?
You should have given
I
him
know,
the
I
chance
should
to,
have.
like-
No, I should have. I've got this. Let me see. Yes. Is this one? No. All right. Here's our church. We're starting a new church in this area.
Okay.
Not too far from here.
All right.
Our website is on there. If you're ever interested, or you know someone who is a Christian who is looking for a church and a community of believers to gather with regularly, pass on the details. Yeah?
Sounds good.
Good luck
Okay.
on your endeavor.
Thank
You're
you.
a brave man, and it's a good thing that you're
I appreciate it. It was Obed.
Obed.
It was nice meeting you,
And
Obed.
that's Eleanor.
Nice meeting you,
Eleanor,
Elena.
we're from England, London. So
Oh, okay. That's where the accent. I was
there
like,
you go. You're like, what is this?
no, I was more like, I wish I sounded that cool
Oh,
on a
no,
regular
you're
basis.
fine.
But all right, take
good
care.
luck, bro.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Wow, 2 yeses in a row. I'm really confused now, actually. What is even happening? Excuse me, miss.
Yeah.
Can I make a really strange request?
What?
I'm wondering if you'd be willing to let me autograph your hand with a Sharpie.
I would probably say yes, but I have to go meet a client, so I think that'd be a little weird.
That's fair. That's fair. Why would you say yes, though? I'm actually curious
Just
about
because
that.
I'm game for whatever.
Okay.
Are you
Is this about something about how I asked it? Like, I don't seem threatening? I seem lighthearted about it?
Yes,
or like,
I would say all of that
Okay.
is very true.
Okay.
And it seems like you're obviously up to something. So
Oh, really?
I'm curious what it is.
Okay, I'll tell you, but in exchange, I need to know how I could seem less like I'm up to something, but not be less lighthearted.
I feel like you're up to something in a good way, though. Like
Okay.
you're playing a game.
Sort of, yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Okay, so the short version, since I know you said you were on your way somewhere.
I can't remember how you asked it, but
I acknowledged that it was a strange request.
yeah.
And I smiled.
And I feel like, yeah, I mean, I'd be like, hey, I know this is totally out of left field, but I need a favor.
Right. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, so basically, what's happening is I'm absolutely terrified of rejection.
Mm-hmm.
So for November, I decided each day I'm going to do what I call a rejection challenge. And they kind of vary in difficulty. Some of them have been really easy, like just try to give people high fives. This one's really weird.
Yes.
And the goal is basically to get people to say no and like actually, you know, feel and like seep in like a bit of the judgment of the rejection and the embarrassment. And unfortunately, you didn't actually say no. I have had other people say no.
I mean, I kind of said no.
You kind of did. I mean, yeah, it's true. I don't feel judged at this point. It also like removes a lot of the judgment to like tell people why I'm doing it, right?
Yes.
But the idea is to kind of like gain the perspective that life is bigger than a no, and it's like not a big deal to get judged occasionally, and just try to be authentic as much as possible, right? So that's why.
Right on. Okay.
And
yeah, I like it. That's cool.
Not what you were expecting. It sounds
no,
like.
it wasn't. I thought you were like on a scavenger hunt.
Oh, really?
Like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, that's fair. I've gotten like, so I'm not actually not in college anymore, but people are like, oh, are you rushing or something? I'm like, no, I'm not being hazed. I'm not being hazed. Like, I need to wear a different jacket next time. That's fair. That makes sense.
Okay. Well, I hope you got what you needed.
I think I did.
Okay.
Yes. I'm flabbergasted that you would say yes at all. But anyway, thank you. I appreciate it. Have a nice day.
Yeah, you too.
Take care. Interesting. It's like 3 non-no's basically in a row. I have to get like a family. This is gonna be weird. Excuse me, miss. Can I ask you for kind of a strange favor?
Yeah?
I'm wondering if you'd be willing to let me autograph your hand with a Sharpie.
Why?
I can't tell you right now.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Can I ask you why you said yes?
Because it's something different.
It's okay. All right.
Okay.
Interesting. Interesting. All right. I actually was expecting you to say no. This whole thing is to get over the fear of rejection by asking people for things that they're probably going to say no to. But you surprised me by saying yes, and your reason for saying yes is also very surprising. It's just different. So thank you for being an awesome and open-minded and kind human being.
Oh, you.
Have a nice day.
Is this a class thing?
No, it's just me trying to learn from doing something out of my comfort zone. Wow, okay, she had like grandkids there? That was weird. Excuse me, sir. Can I ask you for a really strange favor?
Possibly.
That's totally fair. I'm wondering if you would let me autograph your hand with a Sharpie.
Why?
I can't tell you right now.
Not right now, man. I'm sorry.
Okay, can I ask why not?
Because I don't want a Sharpie on my hand.
That's fair. That's fair. Are there other circumstances in which you would have said yes?
Maybe. I don't know if I was drunk.
You know, that's a pretty good reason. You know, yeah, that's a pretty good reason. Okay. Well, hey, well, thanks very much. I appreciate your time. Take care.
You too. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks. Interesting. Excuse me, miss. Would you be willing to let me autograph your hand with a Sharpie?
Would you what?
Would you be willing to let me autograph your hand with a Sharpie?
Why?
I can't tell you right now.
Okay.
All right. Can I ask you why you said yes?
Seems innocent.
Okay, I see. That's fair. I guess something about the way I asked seems innocent, or
Yeah, you look
right. I
How
don't
shall
look.
I say that? You don't look scary.
I don't look scary. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Well, I'll tell you what was actually going on here, since
Okay.
you were kind enough to say yes. I'm actually I'm terrified of rejection. So in the month of November, what I've been trying to do is every day I'm trying to ask strangers for something where I expect them to say no, and both learn that sometimes they don't say no, like you, but also like when they do say no, and if there is judgment, that I just learn to kind of get over it and be like, it's okay, it's not a big deal,
Okay.
right? Because yeah, I think there are a lot of reasons why like rejection is scary and it's uncomfortable.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely, absolutely.
keeps me from doing certain
So,
things.
yeah,
So
okay.
yeah, it's
No,
kind
I'm
of a
glad I
personal
could
growth
do
experience. So
something for you.
no, I really appreciate it. You're strangely, I'm like very
What does it
confused
say,
by.
anyway?
That's my name. It's my first name is Daniel. My last name is Chu. It's very hard to read because my handwriting is terribly messy. But thanks very much. I appreciate
welcome.
your time. All right, I'm back. I'm realizing that today is just an off day. Holy crap. Not only did the video stop recording at one point, but after I like stopped to reset it, I turned it inside out again. I have learned nothing. But this was really interesting. This challenge. I'm really glad I got out and did this today. I learned a crap ton from this one, probably more than I've learned from all the other ones, maybe combined. Though I think I had to do the other ones to get to this point. But yeah, so what happened here is, like, off the camera, because I forgot to record, I asked 5 people, and all of them said no for various reasons. Some of the no's were stronger than others, and part of it was how I asked, what I asked, but ultimately the answer was no 5 times. And then on camera, but reversed and on the inside of my jacket, I asked 5 more people on my way back to my home, and in a sense, all of them said yes, which is really mind-blowing. I am so confused. I'm already trying to work out what happened here. Pretty much all of them expressed and either allowed me to do it. I literally actually signed 4 strangers' hands with a sharpie. They're gonna remember this interaction for days because they have literally no choice but to remember it. And the one person who I didn't, she said she probably would have, except that she was on her way to a client meeting and thought that it would be kind of weird, which is fair, totally fair. Oh, there was a guy with a dog. He also said no, but he was kind about it. So anyway, I guess I think what I learned is I was trying to piece this together as I was doing the challenge, but a lot of it is how I ask the question here. Most of the people who I asked why they said yes, they cited me feeling, me seeming like nice and not dangerous, and as a result, I think they felt safe. And I think a lot of that is how I approached it, and actually how many times I did this is what probably got me there. But how I approached this was like kind of lighthearted, fun. I was very smiley. I know you can't see my face in any of these videos, but it's very smiley, just trying to be like lighthearted. I wasn't taking myself very seriously as I did this. And I think that was really key, which is really interesting. And it makes a lot of sense to me in retrospect. But the lightheartedness, I think, like, on some level, people just assumed, because I was so lighthearted and just like open and nice about it, that like there's nothing evil or scary about my intentions. And I think a lot of the no's and the judgment before came from people feeling the opposite. And I think that kind of happens as a result of people basically seeing that I'm tense, seeing that there's something in my face that says something is wrong, something's not right. People can read that. People can read that really naturally, and as a result, they get freaked out, and they wonder if something really is, you know, going to happen that's not right, and so they want to get away really quickly. I think that like as I just like started getting used to hearing no, and just like getting used to like the process of asking people this really strange thing, and actually starting to get some yeses, I built confidence and took myself a lot less seriously, and as a result, I was actually able to come across in a way that made it more likely for people to say yes. which is mind-blowing. Again, like I didn't expect that. In retrospect, maybe I should have, but it's not something I think I would have expected or understood without like really experiencing firsthand. So I'm really glad I did that. And I think that this is you know, a lesson to be more lighthearted about life and just not take oneself too seriously, just in general. It's yeah. So anyway, I know this was a longer video, but thanks for watching despite all the camera failures, and I'll be back tomorrow for day 17.